What's happening, everyone? I'm Timmy Foodie. Welcome back to the show. Today what we're going to do is a awesome watercress soup. If you're feeling a little bit sick and a bit run down, this is a great soup to make. And vegan, vegetarian friendly, depending on the sort of stock you put in it. So I'm putting in this awesome free range bone broth chicken stock that I've bought. I would make my own stock, but I can't buy whole chicken anywhere at the moment because everyone's bought everything. So I had to, this is all I could get. So this should be fine though. So obviously if you're vegan or a veggie, use a nice vegetable stock. You can get the powdered stuff or a stock cube, whatever you want to use is absolutely fine. The other stuff we're going to need is potato. We've got a carrot, onion, 2 carrots, clove of garlic. We've got some autumn watercress just here, and I've got 2 bunches of that, and that's about all we're going to need. What I'll do is I'll get this all prepped and then we'll get on to the cooking part. It's a super simple recipe, so as long as you've got good ingredients like good stock and you know, a few other good bits and bobs, it's super simple thing to make. So we'll be right back and get that sorted. Right, so I've peeled these guys. I'm just going to really quickly talk you through what I'm going to do with these, just so to show you how I'm going to cut them. We're going to whiz this up at the end, so it doesn't matter too much, but I still want the potatoes to cook kind of evenly. So what I'm going to do, you can see how I cut them just then. So what I'm going to do is cut them into sort of sections like this, cut along like that, and then just cut through so they're in like little cubes, essentially, as you can see. So again, I'll just repeat that with that one. I'm probably going to do 2 cuts in there and then just cut through and just try and keep the sizes kind of consistent. Keep repeating that and then we'll smash the rest out. And then for the carrots, we're just going to probably like that in half lengthways, and then just cut down through that into nice little chunks. Again, it's just really so it all just cooks, so there's nothing too crunchy left in it in terms of the carrot or the potato. So we just, yeah, don't be too stressed out about getting it exact. For the onion, again, we don't need to do any sort of fancy chopping here. It's just, so I won't do like a fancy dice on it, you just don't need to really. So we'll just, if I can peel a little bastard. Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to cut down like that, probably maybe in half again like that, and then just come through like this. Just nice and steady, don't rush. You don't want to cut yourself. I've got enough to worry about with viruses, let alone a severed finger. So there we go, that'll do for me, so that's perfect. Now we're going to cook all that together, so I can put, pretty much we're going to stick this all in at once. So garlic, we'll just take the end off, give that a smash. And this actually I want to leave basically like that, and we'll smush it up at the end when it all whizzes through. The ginger, you don't have to peel it, it makes it a bit more spicy if you don't. But we've got enough spice in this from the watercress. So with this, I'm just going to, again, you don't have to be cutting this super consistently. Just doing a similar thing really. We're just kind of cutting through and just a nice little dice on it basically. And that's about a thumb-sized piece of ginger I've used. We don't want too much in there, but it's quite good for you, ginger, especially for the immune system. So I do like putting it in soups when I'm feeling a bit under the weather or if there's something going around. So, and I think it'll work quite well in this soup because it's quite a spicy, peppery kind of soup because of the watercress. So a little bit of extra zing from the ginger, I don't think it's going to be a problem. And you don't want to put too much because you will overpower it, but this is about right. So yeah, so there's all our stuff. So we've got potato, onion, carrots, ginger, garlic, and that was half an onion. I think that's probably about right for me. And then we've got our 2 bunches of watercress, which we'll get to in a bit. So what I'm going to do is just get these kind of sauteing off in this pan. So this, I just want to start getting the garlic, just a little bit of colour on it and infusing some of the oils from the garlic into this oil. Nice little bit of sizzling going on. There's obviously a bit of water in the pan. This can just do its thing. And then just essentially grab all your bits and bobs here and just pop it in. I mean, the flavours for this are super simple. You can add a bit more zing to it, and if you wanted to, and add some different spices. But for me, you want the watercress to really be the main hero of this thing. So most of this stuff we're putting in here is, well, the potatoes there for texture, to help with the texture of the soup. And the carrots, onions, ginger, garlic are there for flavour. So what we'll do, we'll just get some salt. I don't know how salty this stock is, so I'm not going to overdo the salt at this stage, but you do need to just give it a little bit. And then a bit of pepper as well. A nice little coarse ground on that. I might just zing a little bit more olive oil in there. And that's it. What we're going to do, I'm just going to keep sauteing this around. Pick up that bit of onion skin. I'm just going to keep sauteing this around until everything just softens up. The onions will go a bit translucent. The potatoes, super little bugger, will just do their thing. Soften down, maybe start taking on a little bit of colour. But we don't really want to get a whole lot of colour on this stuff, so I'm going to notch it down a bit on the heat. And just slightly soften down. So basically just keep doing what I'm doing, let it sit for a bit, give it a stir around like this, just make sure everything's kind of in from the edge. And keep doing that for about 10 minutes and then we'll get back to the next bit. Okay, so we're back. So what I've done is, this is the pan that we're going to cook the actual soup in. This is my chicken stock, which is about 1.5 litres, roughly speaking. Which is, what's that in American? That's 6 cups. The quantity kind of just depends on how much stuff you're putting in it. I might not have enough and I might have to put a bit more in. And that's all the stock I've got, so I'll just use a vegetable stock cube with some water and just to top it up if I need to, which will be absolutely fine. I'll show you what I use actually, if I can find the fucking thing. I use this stuff, it's called Naturata, and it's an organic vegetable stock cube, and it's just, if you look at the ingredients, it's just like freeze-dried everything vegetably basically, so there's not much crap in it at all. So so that's what I use in an emergency. So as you can see from this stuff here, everything's softened down and I've got a little bit of colour appearing, can you see, on the potatoes? And that's about right, I reckon. It's just softened down enough, a bit of flavours developed. I don't want it to caramelise or do anything too bad like that or go crispy edge too much. So for me, that's about perfect. It's just to get things started and get a bit of flavour getting into it and to get that garlic clove just kind of cooking down a bit and getting on a bit of flavour and kind of embedding that flavour into everything. So that's perfect. So what I'm going to do is actually transfer these pans over. You might not be able to see in this pan, but yeah, just about. So what I'll do, we'll get that on the heat. And just, you don't really need any more oil at this point. There's enough oil coating all these veggies. So I'm just going to put that in. See, normally I would have just put it in this pan to start with, but you wouldn't be able to see in there. So I just did it in that thing. So, so that's great. So that's our kind of base of stuff in there. So that's kind of what it will look like. And then what we're going to do is, once the heat's got through this, I'm just going to pour this stock into here and let that simmer until the potatoes are cooked, basically. And once that's cooked, we'll get to the next step. Right, okay, so this has been simmering just like this, real gentle, for about 15 minutes. The way we can tell it's ready is you just fish out a bit of potato, give it a little smush up, and if you can cut through it with the fork, then it's perfect. So I know that's good. I did actually put in a little bit of extra vegetable stock in the end, so I've got a little bit more there, because when I put the watercress in, it might be too thick, or I don't know. So it's always good to just have a little bit extra on the side. So essentially what we're going to do now, I've washed this watercress. I'm just going to kind of take it off where it's been kind of spun up and put together, and then I'm just going to just really roughly just chop through. Be really careful when you're chopping things like these sort of loose things with a knife like this, is you can very easily, your hand can kind of, your thumb can kind of come under, and you can just kind of clip yourself with the knife, so you just got to be careful. So that's good. So that's just really roughly chopped, and that's just going to go straight in here. Now, when you're cooking this, you don't want to cook the life out of it, so you don't want to put it in there for like 20 minutes or whatever. But again, you do want to cook it for a bit, because it will release some more flavors, and also it will get a little bit less peppery, because it will be pretty peppery. So yeah, we're just going to essentially, I'm going to put both bunches in because I want a lot of watercress in this. I want to get a good kick from it. So that's probably good. So there we go. We're going to pop this in as well. This stuff wilts down massively, so it might seem like, oh, Tim, you're putting in too much, but it will wilt down a lot. And then I've got a bit more stock on the side, should I need it. So I'm probably not going to put the really big, it'll be all right. You can get away with the stalky ends, really. So that's that. I'm just going to turn that up a touch, bring it to a simmer again. And then what we're going to do is put a lid on it. I'm just going to pat it down into the liquid. So yeah, trust me, this will cook down quite a lot. And the other thing I said you're going to need is one of those stick blenders, or a blender that you can put stuff into, pour it into to whiz this up. So there we go. You see how that's wilted down already quite a lot. So what we're going to do is, this is on about a medium heat. It's going to come back up to a simmer. I'm going to pop my lid on and give that maybe 5 minutes and have a look and smell it. If it's really starting to really smell beautiful like watercress smells and all peppery and nice, it's probably about right. But probably, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, just really gently simmering down and wilting through. Like, it's barely going to be simmering in the end, just a real gentle bubble, and that will do its thing. Okay, right, we're back. That's had about 10 minutes, just as the phone beeps. I've turned the heat off. I've given it a little check around, and the stalks are a bit softer now. I'm still getting that really beautiful watercressy kind of smell, so that I know it's about right, and that's wilted enough. I wouldn't want to cook it much more than that, so like maximum 10 minutes when you're doing this. And it's really, it was a really low, gentle simmer, so you don't want to go too far with it. So that's all good. I've got a bit of extra stock reserved just in case I need it. I'm going to put some butter in it potentially. I'm just going to turn this all off. There we go. And then we're just going to get our stick blender out. I've just got this thing, it's from Aldi. It's not particularly good, but it does the job. And then we're just going to whiz it up. You probably don't need to see me doing this, because it would just be noisy and annoying. But we're going to whiz it up till it's completely smooth. So here we go. One thing I would say is don't angle it up too much, because it will spray all over your camera equipment and monitor. But if you have that sort of shit in your kitchen, then it's your own fault, I suppose. Right, there we go. So that's nicely whizzed up. It's all smooth. I can't see any bits. I've just, put my little spatula through it just to see there's no random chunks. It's all good. And to be honest, the thickness and consistency is about right. So I didn't need that extra stock. So that's good. What I'm going to do, now obviously if you're vegan, don't put the chicken stock in for a start, you use vegetable stock. But at this point, I'm going to put in a couple of knobs of butter because I think it's going to be tasty. And you can drop in a little drizzle of cream, or I might put in a little splash of milk, just a little touch like that. And then I'm just going to whiz that up on gentle, just to whiz through that butter. And it's going to sort of make it go a bit unctuous and nice and, delicious. So yeah, I'll just do that now. So you can see it's just got a little bit paler, and there's a nice little sheen to it from the butter. So there we go. As you can see, super awesome, nice consistency, good thickness, Beautiful colour. And this is about as good as it gets in terms of healthiness. Like watercress is way beyond any other green leafy thing to eat, basically. It's just so good for you, and it's super tasty as well. And I mean, it's great. I mean, there's some that you can put it in mashed potato, which is just sensational. So I might have to do that soon, do a banger of a mash recipe, because I don't think I've done one on here yet, and it's one of my favourite things to cook. So yeah, we're going to do that. I just have to get some sausages, so I might have to run up to Millins and see if they've got any, but they're getting bombarded by lots of eager customers to get their food in. So what I should do probably is taste it and adjust the seasoning. Let's just have a little try. Yeah, that's good. It's already quite peppery, but I like pepper. And to be honest, with this, your watercress soup is only as good as your stock. So if I'd made my own stock, it probably would have been a bit tastier. But it's already tastes really nice. If you don't make your own stock and use something like this, then you know it's going to limit how good it's going to be a little bit. It does need quite a bit more salt in the end. That stock wasn't particularly salty, so I'm just using a Maldon salt there. Just giving it a gentle stir. Let's just give that another try. This is important to do, and also you don't want it to be too hot when you try it, so put a bit on a spoon and yeah, that saltiness level is much better now. I might give it a tiny little hint more. It just brings out the flavour. See, with salt, you don't want the thing to taste salty. You want to be just before that point. So you want the flavours to come out, but not kind of overdo that saltiness. So that's why it's good to just do it in stages with something like a soup like this. And just kind of gradually build it up. And you can always put some more on right at the end anyway. So I might have some Parmesan on top of this. So yeah, awesome. That's just brought those flavours out really nicely. So that's all that's left now, is just to kind of serve her up, really. So you can do that thing. If you saw what I did with the gnocchi, fresh gnocchi, you can pan fry it and then just put those on top, almost like croutons. That would be really nice with this. I did actually look to see if I could get some, but they were all sold out. So such is the way of things. So there we have it. Beautiful watercress soup. I'm going to just do a little grate of Parmesan over this. Just a little bit on top like that is perfect. And then I'm going to just do a few more, just a little fine layer of pepper over the top. And then if you had some cream, you could just do a little swizzle or whatever, but I'm all good for cream. So yeah, so there we go. Super delicious, awesome, healthy, like you would not believe. You know, the ginger, carrots, you know, even potatoes, good stock. Even though mine was a pre-bought pouch of it, it's still pretty good because it is cooked down from proper, you know, bones and stuff. Obviously, if you're veggie or vegan, just use a good veggie stock like that one that I used for the extra sort of bit of stock. And yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoy. Super simple recipe, minimal ingredients, good to make with kind of limited resources at the moment for sure, because it's just potatoes, carrots, you know, a bit of a veggie stock cube and some watercress, so it's pretty basic. So yeah, so there we go. I hope you enjoy. Cheers for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I had a few weeks off pretty much because I had to find more work so because of all this stuff that's going on. So now we're back into it. I'll be back cracking along with some more regular recipes. So, and I'm trying to get a bit more concise on that waffle, even though it's what I'm fucking doing now, but whatever, I'm getting better. So cheers for tuning in, and we'll be back very soon. Cheers, guys.